Welcome to the Wholesaling Inc Podcast, America's #1 podcast for new real estate investors, where we know that finding discounted properties is the most proven path to financial freedom. I am your host, Brent Daniels, Mr. TTP, Mr. Talk to People, and I am telling you this: if I can do it, so can you. So let's get started. I am here with Luke Rotfold, which Luke has been over the last 7 years. We've worked together and worked around each other.
Absolutely.
And Luke has been on the podcast a few different times because I call him America's greatest phone prospector, greatest cold caller for real estate deals. And just to prove that, he's got a $10 million portfolio of properties, okay? He's done about $7 million worth of deals, and 75% of those deals have come from picking up the phone and being proactive. The other 25% with SMS text messaging,
For sure,
right?
Yeah, exactly. SMS, a little bit of direct mail, just over the years, but yeah.
Well, the
vast majority of that is cold calling.
Yeah, and the point of it, by the way, he's 31 years old. 31 years old, a multimillionaire, and he started 7 years ago. Just to recap, what were you doing before real estate?
All right, so started with bartending, serving. Obviously, that was right when I got out of high school, and then after that, I was actually selling stuff on eBay, and then also on Craigslist. Just flipping stuff, honestly. It could have been anything: cars, shoes, anything that you can make a quick buck on. So yeah, and then obviously found you guys, and obviously the rest is history.
Yeah, so Luke's now wife, at that time girlfriend, worked for us.
Yep.
Sage, she was incredible. She was incredible on the phones, but it worked against her DNA. Yeah, she just the rejection and the conversations. She just wasn't. It just didn't make her happy to do it. She was very successful at it.
She liked the traditional route.
She liked she liked being a real estate agent
for sure,
which works perfect in your business now.
Exactly.
Because she lists all your flips that you're doing.
She does, yep, exactly.
And so the point of this podcast that I want to bring, that I want to, the core of this podcast, I should say, is wholesaling. Basically just means finding discounted properties.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? That's what wholesaling is. So we think of wholesaling as assigning the contract and getting an assignment fee, but that's just assigning a contract. Wholesaling truly is the art of sourcing discounted properties. Now, wholesaling is the foundation of a healthy real estate investing business.
Absolutely.
Because once you start to find discounted properties, then you can start doing other things like fix and flip, buy and holds, development,
Airbnb.
be in the bank, Airbnbs,
Yeah.
which, oh, by the way, over the last 7 years, it has been an absolute pleasure watching you go into each and every one of these things. So I wanted to bring you onto the podcast again to, one, inspire people to be really proactive in their business because it works, but two, also to show that there is a path. We talk about the opening every time.
Yeah.
The path to financial freedom is finding discounted properties.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. So, wholesaling is where it starts. When you first get started, you have to start building up, your bank account. You have to start building up those funds to be able to do those other things. You're not going to get involved, get started in wholesaling and then just immediately be able to start buying, Airbnbs and start developing and stuff like that. You got to start building it up. And so that was kind of the route that it went. Was, the first couple of years, no, we weren't buying any properties. It was, we weren't keeping them. We were buying properties, but we were selling every single one of them wholesale. And then slowly but surely you start getting into flipping. Then you start getting into, keeping a property. You have enough money where you're like, actually, you know what? I really like this property. I think I want to keep this one. And then from that point, it's just a snowball effect. And I mean, if you're doing a decent amount of deals, it can move quickly. So that's kind of what's happened with us.
So how do you do a decent amount of deals? How did you build it up? Because it was just you. You were working with us.
Yeah, exactly.
And you were making calls, and we were splitting the deals.
Yep.
And then you started your own business, and you brought in your partner Jake.
Yep.
And then things started. You started really expanding your business, but not. It wasn't a huge office. It wasn't like you had 40, 50 people.
No, we still have a small team too. I mean,
and you're going to do how much this year?
So through the first 6 months, so we're first 2 weeks of July right now. So we just ended the second quarter. So what we kind of do is we do projections a little bit because we have so many flips going. So we don't know exactly how much they're going to bring in, but we got a pretty damn good idea. And so the numbers that we put on the board is like the conservative number, right? So we never want to get like our team excited and be like, oh yeah, there's a good chance we're going to make $100,000 on this, right? Like, even though we might think that there's a chance we might, we'll put on there, this is probably going to be like a 60, right? Something like that. So that's kind of where it starts, is that we'll be at that point. And then, ultimately it's just kind of,
So this year's projections for 2021 are going to be?
For 2021.
For income, not equity, not buying
this is
properties.
Just income. So for the first 6 months, we're projected to be at about 1.2.
Right.
So realistically, we're thinking we should have a $2 million a year this year.
With how many people?
Jake, myself, and then two acquisition managers.
So 4 people on your team.
4 people. Exactly. And then obviously we have VAs though. We have virtual cold calls, stuff like that. But we don't have a lot. We've got 3 of them. So
you've got, just to set the stage for everybody, because I think that it's important to look at what is the blueprint of a successful business that's doing $2 million with squeezing as much out of everybody's potential.
Right.
So you've got 3 phone prospectors?
2
phone prospectors.
I'm sorry, 3 out of country, and then we have 2 acquisition managers.
Okay, and are your acquisition managers doing cold calls or just lead follow-up?
Just lead follow-up now.
And what about you?
I just cold call.
You still cold call?
Oh, yeah.
How often?
Oh, yeah.
How often?
So it used to be, obviously when I got started, it was 5-6 days a week, and I was going, 5 hours. But no, as it kind of, as it kind of gets rolling and your business starts moving along, I don't really have time to do that anymore. Unfortunately, I love it. I love it. It's a blast. And so unfortunately right now I'm probably about 3 times a week for about 3 hours, which it's not bad, but I probably do maybe 9 to 10 hours a week. But I mean, the reason why it's tough to do a lot more is because the rest of the time, we're going on appointments, and we do a lot of stuff up in northern Arizona. We'll do stuff in other areas. So, and we still go on our appointments. What we've kind of seen is that when Jake and I go on our appointments, we book 50%. I'm sorry, we close 50% of the appointments we go on. So if we book 2 appointments a week up in Prescott, we're going to go on both of them. We're going to get one of them. Mm-hmm. That's our numbers. Our numbers are we get 1 out of every 2, and so if obviously if we start kind of taking that out and having other people go on the appointments, I'm not saying that they wouldn't do as well, but I'm not, we're not in the position where we want to lose 50, we want to get that deal every single time.
But Luke, that means you're working in your business, not on your business.
I am. I know.
I don't understand this. I think I do understand it. I understand it on some level. I don't want to work in the business. I want to work on the business.
Right.
But I think people jump to that way too fast.
Oh, I think so too. And so I was going to say the other big reason why I do still cold call is I just feel like it keeps you sharp. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I mean, it's one of those things where when we have our acquisition managers that say, hey, this happened, or if someone's got questions, I like being able to know what's going on. I like being able to be like, hey, I know this has been happening. I've been hearing it too. So this is what you need to say. This is what you need to do. Because I feel like sometimes, you'll see that happen where when people get out of the business out of what got them to the point that they're at, they start kind of falling behind the trends, and they're like, wait, I don't really know what's going on anymore, because they're not actively working. And I know it in the business, but I think, even if you're not in the business full time, you just need to at least kind of have a foot in the door of like, okay, this is still kind of what's going on. It keeps a good gauge on it.
Yep. Totally agree. So you are in the 9 hours that you're calling, which by the way, 9 hours to you, you're like, oh, I used to do that every day. Now you're doing it a week.
Yeah.
But most people have never called for 9 hours ever. How did you get over the fear of the phone?
So obviously one is repetition. I mean, when you it's scary when you first get started. You're going to get yelled at, you're going to fumble your words, you're not going to know what you're saying, but I mean, you're going to get better. It's like anything, the more that you practice it, the better you're going to get, and you're going to be able to perfect your craft. And that's kind of, where I truly feel like I've gotten to the point now where it's like anything that pops up, I know exactly what I want to say to that, to that person. And I have an answer for it that's going to de-escalate the conversation, that's going to keep it to where they're not going to look my company up and try to sue me and stuff like that, So I mean, there's little things that are huge details on a day-to-day basis that can keep you to where it's like you want to stay on the phones. Because a lot of times you'll have a bad call and you're like, dude, screw this, I'm done. Like I do not want to get yelled at anymore. But it's like if you can kind of control the conversation every single time to know like, hey, you're not going to get yelled at if you can just keep the conversation at this point right here. So it's a lot of that.
How many people do you think that you have talked to?
Oh God.
About real estate? Ask them if they would consider an offer.
I honestly, I don't even know if I could begin.
150,000?
We could do the numbers real quick, but I mean, if we're talking on average, because I mean, obviously it's really only been this last year that I've really, really kind of taken a step back. But I mean, if you're talking 50 contacts a day, 250 a week, 250 times 50 is, I don't freaking know, 50,000 maybe?
Yeah.
50,000, that's 1 year. So over 7 years, that's 350,000 people.
Does anything surprise you anymore?
No, nothing. Literally nothing.
Because I've literally, Luke and I have made calls together. I have seen his videos that he does on his YouTube channel. That is fantastic. Check out the Viking Boys on YouTube. It's fantastic.
Hey, appreciate it.
It shows Luke making the calls while he's playing video games. That's the
other thing. Yeah, that's the other thing that kept me on the dialer for all those years when you first get started. Was Madden. Love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
So you're playing video games, but you are so in the zone every time you press go because you've talked to 350,000 people, but the 350,000 people has equated to $17 million worth of $10 million worth of portfolio, $7 million worth of income over 7 years.
Right.
From just getting a list.
Yeah, from just calling.
And getting a phone number.
Yeah.
Name, address, phone number.
Yeah.
Calling up and asking somebody if they would consider an offer in their property.
For
do
sure.
you feel like you generally were just very good at it and it was just easy for you? Was it something you had to work on?
I mean,
talk to people that are like, this guy's talked to 350,000 people. I have a problem picking up the phone and talking to 3 people. Like, he must be different than me.
Well, I think it's one of those things where, once you start seeing the fruits of your loins, it becomes a lot easier, right?
Okay.
You pop a $40,000 deal from a quick call, and you're just like, oh shit, like, I like this.
I can do your loins. Aren't those your children?
Fruits of your labor. Fruits of your labor. I'm sorry.
Okay.
That's what I meant. Fruits of your labor, not your loins, not
Yes.
my kids. I have kids. Third on the way now. Crazy. Yeah. Anyway, neither here nor there. Fruits of your labor. Sorry. Yeah. But yeah, no, the fruits. When you see the fruits of your labor, the juicy peach there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But no, that's honestly like, you pop a deal like that. Yeah, it gets easier.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes it, because then it makes you realize like, oh, I'm not doing this for nothing. Like it actually is, it's working, right? It's making sense. And then again, it's the first rental property that you buy, the first Airbnb that you do, the first time that you're like, oh my God, I can afford to do a multifamily. I could do a 4-unit. I could do a triplex. Like that's when it gets fun. Mm-hmm. Like I love cold calling and I love wholesaling. I love everything that we did. But I mean, like, I'm having the most fun I've ever had now. Like, cause now is when it's like, I was telling Sage that the other day. Yeah. Sage is my wife. So it's like, we just bought a property in downtown Prescott that it's like a dream home. Like it's something that I would have always, loved to have bought over the past 7 years, but it was always like, nah, I can't really do that. It's not really gonna be possible. And now it's like, it kind of came up and it was like, we can buy this and it's right on the square. It's like, it's insane. And it's like, when you have those goals of like what you thought was possible, and then it starts becoming a reality where you're like, damn, dude, we're buying those properties that we always said that we would love to buy. Yeah. It's like, this is where it gets fun. And now, and like, I'm really, I love design. Like I love the design aspect of these properties, of like the Airbnbs and stuff. And so we're just having fun, doing these things exactly how we want and making money on them. And we just, Jake and I, so we just bought 2 Airbnbs downtown Gilbert. So that was the last purchase was number 8 for Airbnbs. Mm-hmm. So that was the 8th.
And that's what I want to talk about. But first, turn off that phone.
Yeah.
That keeps beeping. in the background.
Here, give me a sec.
Yeah, no, that's good. No, honestly, guys, 350,000 conversations that he's had over this last 7 years.
Got it.
And this is real life. This is what he's done. And Luke knows and it's something that I talk about a lot on this podcast and on my YouTube channel, the Brent Daniels YouTube channel, is that once you get into that rhythm, once you have enough conversations, I call it the 1,000 contact rule. Once you talk to 1,000 people about real estate, you can talk to anybody about anything, really. It just opens up your skills of communication. And when you talk to that many people, you realize when you ask them if they would consider an offer on their property, there's only 6 responses. 1 being yes, they do want to sell. 2 being no, they never want to sell. 3 being maybe in the future. 4, they're going to respond, how much will you give me? 5, they'll say, who are you? And number 6 is, how'd you get this number? Right? That's it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Out of 350,000 calls.
Yeah, that's what they all break down to. Yeah,
right?
For sure.
And it's just
most of them are just no. Most of them, like of the 350,000 calls, I will gladly say, I don't know, maybe 250,000 of them are just no thanks.
Click.
Yeah, exactly.
And what do you do?
And you call the next person.
Right.
It's pretty simple. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty simple.
And you're using a dialer to make your calls.
Right. Triple line. So
triple line
for those
dialer.
people that have reached out recently, I've had a lot of people reach out, say, hey, I'm on the single line. Do I need to go to triple? The answer is yes, and always yes. And it should be as soon as you possibly can. Mm-hmm. And it shouldn't even be as soon as you can. It should be like, give yourself like a week on the single line and then jump into the triple. Because, I mean, obviously, you're talking to you're calling 3 times as many people. So it's like, if you're complaining about how many contacts you're getting in an hour and you're doing a single line dialer, there's your answer right there.
Awesome. So when did you decide? So it took you, and by the way, I think people should know, this is really important. Really, you've been doing it 7 years, but it's really 6.5 because it took you 5 months to get your first deal.
Yeah, it did. This is true. This is very true. It was 4.5 months, Brent.
Okay, 4.5 months to close your first deal.
4.5 months. But yeah, no, I mean, it was this, it's a grind. When you first get started, it's tough because you can see the light, like you can kind of, you hear about what's going on and everything, but it's tough. It's tough. You're learning your script. You're learning what to say in certain circumstances and stuff like that. But I mean, no, again, it's just once you kind of get rolling on it, it all becomes easier. And yeah, it took me 4 months. It took me 4.5 months to get my very first deal. And so, yeah, in that first 4.5 months, you know how many times there were where I was like, man, maybe this isn't for me, but it's
you had doubts?
Oh, of course, when you're going 4.5 months in and it's like, oh man, this is tough, of course. But then honestly, what it was is once you pop that, once I popped that very first one, it was it kind of, they just started flowing in after that.
Well, we talk about the 3 P's and the 3 D's, and these are the things that would hold you back, right?
Right.
The 3 D's is doubt, distraction, and disappointment, right? Because you're doing the work and it doesn't feel like the momentum's picking up. But you got to imagine you're like a train going down the tracks and it's just inching along. You're not going 100 miles an hour, but you got to start by building up that momentum. That momentum starts by building up your pipeline of opportunities.
Right.
Your pipeline of opportunities gets built up in one of 3 ways. 1, you do a lot of marketing.
Correct.
Right? You do internet marketing. You do direct mail. You do bandit signs. 2, you wait around for these deals by getting referrals.
Yep.
Like people understand that you're looking for distressed properties. Right. They're interested in what you're doing, but that takes time, and you got to build a reputation. And then 100%. The third way to start building up that pipeline of opportunities, the one that I want and that Luke and I love, is being proactive. Is going out there every single day, and you can be proactive typically in one of 2 ways: either door knocking or picking up the phone and talking to people, picking up the phone and phone prospecting.
Yeah.
And that's what Luke has done to generate the $17 million over the last 6.5 years to be able to really, I mean, now you're a multimillionaire at 31 years old. At 24, a young man you were running and gunning. You were looking for different things. I remember you were in multi-level marketing.
Yep.
You were selling shoes and flipping cars and doing all these things. You found real estate. It was really the outlet that you were looking for, because it's the same principles as those things. Whether you're flipping a pair of shoes, whether you're
a little bit higher commissions,
but
a little bit
higher prices.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all it is. It's higher prices.
Exactly.
And that's what's so exciting, because you're putting the same amount of effort in, but you're just dealing with something that is more valuable.
Yeah, and I'll have people reach out to that are in sales, and I'll explain that exact same thing to them. Like, dude, real estate. Like, if you're really good at sales, why are you not doing the thing that is the most expensive? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so it's like you could sell whatever it is. It could be pest control. It could be anything. You know what I mean? But again, it's like, you're talking about, you get a sale. I don't know what the numbers are. I have no idea. I've got some friends that are in it. They could probably tell me. But say you make $250 a door if you've signed someone up for pests, and obviously you're going to do more of them. But still, you do a house.
Yeah.
You get a commission on a house. Average house in Arizona is what, $350,000. Say you're making a $20,000 assignment fee on that. Mm-hmm. Takes quite a few. Quite a few of these other deals to lock one of these. So.
That's it. Well, and that's what I think people don't really realize for this, for the properties that you own and the deals that you've done. Mm-hmm. It's not like you've had to do 10,000 deals.
Oh God, no.
You know what I mean? It's because you make a good amount. And it's interesting because the interesting thing about making more per deal is, and what most wholesalers will find out as you evolve in your business is, first you start out and you're just finding deals and you're assigning deals.
And you're selling them quick because you just don't want to have to cancel, and you're selling them for less than you probably should have.
Right. And you're selling them to the same people over and over and over.
For sure.
Then you start developing. You go, okay, this is great, but I'm making 8,000, I'm making 12,000, but I'd love to make 20, 25, 30,000.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you build your cash buyer database.
Right.
Now you're selling these deals for more. Right. So now you're getting that 25, 30. Now you're building your bank account to where it's healthy and happy and heavy.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, the opportunities start opening up to be able to do some flips.
Exactly.
Get your creative side going.
Guys, okay, when you get your first 2 deals and say you got $100,000 under your belt, don't go buy a supercar. Don't do it. I'm telling you right now, the urge is there, but do not do it. If you're in this for the long haul, it's not the smart move to make. I'm telling you right now.
What's the smart move?
The smart move is, in my opinion, is buying rental properties.
Right.
Buying rental properties, or putting that money back into your business to be able to, if you're doing 3 deals a month, to be able to do 6 deals a month, whatever it is, or even an extra deal. If you're putting that extra money back in your business and it allows you to do 1 extra deal, 2 extra deals, that's the route to go. In my opinion.
Right.
In my opinion. You can buy a supercar, go for it.
But the interesting thing, just watching your business blossom, you started buying rentals.
Right.
And wholesaling. It was wholesaling rentals. Wholesale. First it was wholesale.
Yeah, and then it kind of started going wholesale and then super cheap rentals. You remember?
Yes.
So I was finding literally it was our own deals. I was just paying at the time you and Dustin out. So I had bought 3, and again I was staying cheap, like as cheap as possible. So I bought 3 condos for like $50,000 each. And then I just paid you guys each out on them. Yeah. And those 3 condos have turned into now, we've been 1031ing them. If you don't know about 1031s, you need to know about that. We've just been doing 1031s and recently turned those into 4 Airbnbs and a new build 30-unit complex that
You're building 30 apartments in Prescott, Arizona.
Yeah.
Now you're getting into development. Well, you did some development. You built a duplex, which is exciting. Yep. I'm telling you guys, listen, we're going to put, if you are listening to this on the podcast, you have to see this on the YouTube channel because we're going to put a lot of graphics in this conversation. But the graphic that you would see now is the foundation of your real estate business is wholesaling. It's finding discounted properties. And then the little houses, like monopoly houses, or all the other different things that you can do once you have the income and reputation and knowledge and experience and expertise in what you're doing. Then all of a sudden, not only will people be interested in what you're doing, they'll give you money to do more.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and that's kind of the route that we went as well, is that, exactly like Brent just said, when people start seeing that you know what you're doing, wow, man, they just did 20 flips and every one of them went well, right? Maybe not perfect, but they went well. When they start seeing that, when they start saying, oh yeah, you start buying Airbnbs, you start buying rental properties, people they're drawn to that. They get excited about that. And when they do, you'll have people that will say, listen, I want to partner with you. I want to, you won't believe there's so many more people out there than you would ever expect that have a lot of money that's just sitting there. You would never believe it. But then the amount of people that will reach out once you actually can prove that you know what you're doing is madness. Like it's wild. And so that now a lot of times we have, other people will fund our deals because it's like we're getting the deals and they just, they want a small portion of it. And it makes sense for us because we're not having to come out of pocket anything to do them now. Mm-hmm. So it's great.
Do you find that you have built more opportunities because you're posting on Instagram, because you're building your YouTube channel?
Not even a question. Even a question.
Tell people about that because it feels very awkward. I remember the first time getting into coaching, they're like, you have to do these Facebook Lives twice a week. And I was like, I have no idea. I've never done anything like this. This is crazy. I was so nervous and I was anxious and I was like preparing everything, getting all crazy. And then you start getting into a rhythm and then all of a sudden you start getting louder and louder and louder. Yep. And the louder you get, and this is for everybody out there, I don't care if you're just starting out, document your day. Document what you're doing. Document you driving for dollars. Document you calling. Document 100%. You walking through a house that's in really rough shape. Like, let everybody know that you are a real estate investor because I am telling you it is one of the best marketing channels that you're going to put together in your career is your network of people that refer you opportunities and or bring you funds to do projects.
People will come out of the woodworks to work with you.
Right.
They really will. So a perfect example is we had a property that we put under contract, I don't know, like maybe 5 months ago. And so are you ready for a deal time?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So we're going to ring this bell?
If you want to talk about a deal, we can.
Yeah.
Let's do it. So we bought a property in Prescott. So we bought it for, I'll give you the backstory. It was an old couple. Jake and I went on the appointment. They were very old. And so I'd been keeping up with them, following up with them every month and a half, maybe 2 months or so. And I stopped hearing from them for maybe 4 months went by. And I'm like, man, I don't know what's going on. And so really, sad. And
so you're calling, but they're not answering.
Right, correct.
So people would call that ghosting.
Yeah.
Right.
So I thought it was ghosting, but I still kept calling them, right?
Yeah.
And so one day I called, this is 4 months later, and someone answered, but it wasn't him. Because he was always the guy that answered the phone. It's a different guy, and so he's like, yeah, hello, and I was like, yeah, this is Luke. Is so and so there? And he's like, no. Unfortunately, him and his wife both passed. And they passed within about 2 weeks of each other. So he was the brother of the guy, and he said, we're selling the house. And I was like, yeah, I know. I was speaking with so and so about it, and we were going to buy it. And so he's like, well, come take a look at it, and we'll see, because we don't want to work with realtors. We live out of state. Like, we just want this to be a quick process. We went and saw it, scheduled a time, put it under contract. So we bought it for $330.
What's the condition of this property?
Oh, it's awful. Just smells like smoke.
Okay.
Tar everywhere. You move the furniture, and there's tar on the wall. They both were smokers.
Yeah.
Just absolutely disgusting. It was bad. RIP, it's awful, but it was they did not take good care of the house.
Yeah.
It was bad. So we bought it for $330. We are almost finished with the renovation right now. We put 95 into it. 95, so we're all into it about 4.25, right around there. Hard money and everything else, we'll be into it about maybe 450, 460, somewhere there. And like we were saying, I was posting videos of walking through it, right? Because it's a beautiful property, just for the renovations that we've been doing and everything.
Yeah.
And so someone reaches out and they say, hey, I've got a friend who's been looking for a property just like this. What are you guys going to be looking at selling the property for? And so we made this place gorgeous. So it's sick.
Yeah.
It's sick. And so we're like, we were going to list it for $7. And she's like, okay, sounds good. I'll talk to the buyer and, I'll let you know. And she comes in and she says, I want it.
Yeah.
Done deal. I'll pay cash.
Yeah. Cash.
Yeah. And so So
no real estate
we're
costs.
no realtors, no anything. We're walking it tomorrow with her. But we're all into it about 450, 460, and 700. No realtors, no anything, cash. And if she's gonna give us the final sign off, but she's already said this is what
she knows where she wants.
It's exactly
to live.
what I've been looking for. This is exactly what I want. So that's.
So what do you think you'll net?
We'll probably net around 230 grand or so on a flip.
Come on, man. Come on, ring that bell.
So it's it'll be a good one.
Wow.
Yeah.
And wait, so did you cold call this couple?
Yeah, cold call.
And how long was that follow-up?
Oh, God.
A few months?
No,
a year
and a half.
Year and a half.
So cold call. The original numbers we were talking was like 250.
Right.
And then obviously just, how over time the market went up and the brother's like, no, these things are going for more. And I mean, and again, there wasn't a whole lot of comps to show that like that 700 was going to be, realistic.
Right.
But like just how the market has been going and everything for what it is, like, yeah, it's a totally fair number, which is awesome. But yeah, it started from a cold call. It was like about a year and a half of follow-up. And then, like I said, 4 months, 4 months of not hearing from him, period. And then finally the brother answers. And then, I got lucky. I got lucky that they were cleaning the house out when I called. Yeah. Because they were only there for 10 days. And so, he would have had, I would have had no way to get a hold of him, so.
Well, if you would have given up on it. If you would have just been like, I haven't heard from him in 4 months. But there's always, this is something you and I do. And I remember doing it with my own liens. You have an instinct.
Yes.
That this is going to be a good deal.
For sure.
And you hold on to that forever and ever and ever. And I think that comes with experience. I really do.
I think so too.
But I think it's also, once you talk to enough people, you realize, are these people blowing me off? Are these people like legit? And are they letting me know the condition of the property? If I know the condition of the property is rough and I'm building a decent relationship with the property owner, I will follow up with that lead for the end of my days.
No, exactly.
Forever.
Exactly. No,
because
absolutely.
Listen, the fact is lead follow-up takes 30 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
Most of the time, 80%. Is mostly a voicemail or text message, right?
It's a quick check-in. You're checking in with them, and I mean, honestly, that phone call, even if you get a hold of them, it's so quick. Like,
what do you say?
I just say, so I've got one guy that I've been speaking with for 5.5 years now. His name's Albert. He's wonderful. He swears on it up and down. When he sells his house, it's going to me. You're the only person I'm calling. I promise you, no one will touch his house but you. Yeah. And I guarantee it. I guarantee it's going to happen. It's so I followed up with them. I followed up with them last Thursday. Yeah. I mean, it's like it's.
But what do you say? Because a lot of people feel like they don't know what to say when they're doing lead follow-up, and that prevents them from doing lead follow-up.
Right. So my conversation with him is a little bit different because we know each other now. Yeah. Right.
Let's just say it's your first time following up.
First time, I'll just say, hey, so and so. Right. This is Luke. We spoke on the phone about a month ago or 2 weeks ago, whenever it was. Yep. We spoke about your property on Main Street. I just wanted to, give you a quick call back. I wanted to see if you got a chance to kind of think about it anymore, if you're still interested in selling that property. That's literally all I say. And then every single time, and you just have a nice tone in your voice and very friendly and everything. And they go, oh yeah, hey Luke, how you doing? I have been thinking about it. Still probably not quite there yet. That's the average response. Probably not quite there yet. I talked to my husband. We're probably about another 3 months out. And I mean, honestly, even if people say, oh, we might even be another, we're going to put this on the back burner for maybe a year or so. I will gladly still keep that piece of paper and I'll just say, call in 6 months or call in. They're not going to care. If they said a year and you call them in 6 months, they don't care at all. So that's literally the lead follow-up. So I mean, the amount of my lead follow-up right now that I've been speaking with for over 3-4 years, it's pretty crazy.
It's crazy.
Like I've got hundreds of people that I've been talking to for years now. And every time every time I call, they're like, "Hey Luke, how you doing?" Like it's great. Yep. Like you're the person that they're gonna think of.
You'll at least get a shot.
No doubt about it.
And likelihood that you're going to get the deal.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. Because at this point, you don't have to get it at a wholesale price. You might get it at a rental price.
Exactly.
You might get it at a fix and flip price.
For sure. Or if they're in certain areas
Airbnb
and they're amazing
price.
For Airbnb, because that's the thing. That's the thing that's kind of unique about Airbnbs is that you can spend more on those properties. So one of the ones that we just recently bought, it wasn't a wholesale price what we bought it for. There's not even a question. But with what Airbnbs can bring in, so I mean, like you got to keep in mind, our average Airbnb brings in $6,000 a month. So it's like if you're buying these properties even for, let's just say 300 grand, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're putting 50 grand into them, 350, whatever. You're going to be, your payment's going to end up being somewhere in the ballpark of maybe 1,800, like maybe 2 grand. And it's like, by the time you have your expenses, say that's another 1,000, you're making 3 grand a month per Airbnb.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why that's
a lot. I think
we've been
almost everybody that I talk to that gets going or has a dream of passive income,
right,
tells me $80,000 a month. That's what I want. $80,000 a month. They want to make $1 million passively from their rentals.
Right.
So you were saying how much could you make a month in that? 3 grand?
So our average is about 3 a month.
3 grand that you're netting.
Netting.
Right.
After
so you
utilities,
have 30 Airbnbs.
We only have 8.
I know, but after 30 Airbnbs, you're at 90,000.
Oh yeah, for sure. And what? Okay, that's picking up 3 a year for 10 years.
So you're 41 years old making $1 million passively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Let alone the other stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
fantastic. But really, there's a hierarchy, and Luke's come on here and has provided a ton of value over the years. But what I really wanted to show here is when you have the opportunity to either wholesale, fix and flip, rental, or Airbnb, you have the opportunity to customize your offer for the property owners that you're going after.
Right.
Right. And it's in that hierarchy. The lowest price for the properties would be a wholesale price.
Right.
Next would be a fix and flip price. After that would be your rental, and then your Airbnb, just because of the economics of those deals. So as you're developing, now listen, if you're just getting started, just focus on building that big, healthy, heavy, happy bank account.
Yes.
Okay? And then you can do some amazing things. But there is a path of progress here. The path of progress is you can do all of these other incredible things. You can open up so many tools out of your toolbox, but it starts with being proactive, keeping the money that you make, and just doing the hard work. I mean, Luke's talked to 350,000 people to be at this point. He's got some more people making calls now that add to his horsepower. But the fact is, if you're calling and anybody else that you hire calls, you're going to get a deal 3 times. You're going to get 3 times more deals than anybody calling for you. Probably 10 times more deals.
For sure.
Right?
That's accurate.
Because one, you have the experience. 2, you benefit from all of it.
Yeah, exactly.
If you call them and get the deal and all of a sudden you have these different options, you benefit.
Know. Yeah, no, exactly.
You're going to sink into it more.
Yeah, you just know. Okay, no matter what, I can get it at, once you really know your numbers too. I mean, that's another big thing too that we probably don't talk about enough is that, you need to really, really know your numbers in the markets that you're calling in. And so that benefits us like crazy for the markets that we're in, because we know them better than anyone else, like not even a question. So we know from the initial phone call that I make, okay, this is the number they want. I know no matter what, if I buy that at that property or at that price, it will make sense as an Airbnb. It'll make sense as a long-term rental. It'll make sense as a fix and flip. But if I can get it this much lower, then I can go for, whatever. That's his bonus on top. And that's the thing too, is that you get to that point where that is just bonus on top, because realistically, when our business took a huge turn of really like doing some crazy numbers was when we started flipping nearly everything. And so again, the only way you can get to that point is by starting by wholesaling to build up that bank account. But then once you do, I mean, our average deal size this year, 6 months in, is 52,000.
Right.
So that's our average.
Mostly flips.
Right. Yeah. Right. Average deal size is 52,000. And so it's like, you're popping 52 on every single deal. So I think we do 5 deals a month.
Right.
But it's if you're doing 5 at 52.
Not even. I mean, for $1 million, that's only 20 deals.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And so I think it's really making sure that you know those numbers and really getting that process down of becoming active wholesaler and then turning into an active flipper.
Yep.
If that's the route you want to go. Some people don't want to deal with it because it is stressful for sure. Walking projects and properties, and I mean that's a lot of what's taken me away from cold calling now is walking those properties and stuff like that.
Yep. Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Let's talk real quick. We did a collaboration.
Yes.
This here is, so Luke has a put together this tracking, the lead generation tracking.
It's a tracking device.
Yeah, booklet.
No,
and
for sure.
This is the collaboration for my TTP students. You will be getting this as part of the coaching, but Luke also has his own branded. Where can people find the show them what it's about? It has basically, hold on, just open it up to the main. It has your goals in there. It has how many people have you talked to, how many leads have you got,
daily basis.
Yep.
So this is something that
it's a daily tracker.
This is something that we kind of sat down on, and guys, this is huge. This is literally going to be amazing for you guys, especially for starting out. When I first started out with Brent, this was something that I always kind of had wished that I had. Is something, it was 7 years ago, so but it's something that I truly feel like it holds you accountable for every single day. So for those of you that are already cold calling now, and you're like, man, like, I don't know, I'm just not getting the deals, I don't know what's going on. Like, you can actually look back and be like, okay, well, let's see here. I want to look at my weekly goal. My weekly goal was to hit 250 contacts. How many did I make? And you look back and you're like, okay, I made 17. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, well, duh. Yeah, of course you're not getting your numbers you're looking for. Of course you're not hitting your goals. And so, basically what we've done here is added, 70 contacts for the tracker, 7 hours for a time tracker. So again, you're marking off every single hour that you go. You're marking off every contact that you get. At the beginning of the day, you're putting your goals in here. How many contacts am I going to make today? How many hours am I going to call? How many leads am I going to get? How many appointments am I going to book? And then there's also another spot for other daily goals, just because I wanted to, kind of make sure that it was like an everyday planner as well. Yeah. But again, this has been huge because again, it's like, if you're not hitting the numbers that you wanted to hit, you can see why you're not hitting them. So, and then for your weekly goal, the other thing that's kind of nice that we put in here is we did a quote of the week, so something that's going to kind of get you going for the week. And then we have goal for the quarter for how many wholesales you did, right? The current number of wholesales that you currently have for the year. And then the goal for the quarter, total amount of wholesales that you wanted to do. And then also the total amount that you're at. So again, this is huge. I fill this thing out every single week because it keeps me on track.
Yep.
It keeps me on track. I know that at the end of the year, if I want to do $2 million, I know that I got to do 500,000 a quarter, right? So for the quarter, I got to do 500K. What am I at right now? I'm at 180 grand. I'm at 200 grand. I'm at 10 grand. Whatever your numbers are, this is the thing that's going to keep you on track for it.
You can't improve what you can't track. You got to track. You got to track your numbers. That's the difference between amateurs and pros in this business, is tracking your numbers. Yep. How do people find this, your version of it?
My version, you just reach out to me on Instagram.
So tell everybody how.
Hey, reach out to me on Instagram. My name is Luke_RO_. That's my handle there. But yeah, I'll just ship one out to you if you want one. They're great. They're quarterly. So for a 90-day period, that's what we always did.
What are you charging?
$30.
Cool.
$30 for one of those. I take care of shipping. So yeah.
There you go, guys. It is bananas. If you're in the TTP program, you're going to get one of these as part of the program that is customized. We've done put a little bit of extra goodies in there for the TTP family. But Luke, thank you.
Boom. There it is, guys.
Thanks for coming out,
hey,
brother.
Of course.
That was awesome. Listen. Closing close to $250,000 deal, biggest deal that you've done.
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
Yeah, it was.
And you're just off and running, man. 31 years old, multi-millionaire. I'm so proud of you. Hey. Not even proud. I'm just happy. Hey, you know what I mean? You did the work. You did the work. Yeah, come here.
Oh, there he is. There he is.
So anyway. That's it, guys. Thank you for joining. Again, reach out to Luke for that daily tracker. I am telling you, it is game changer. And if you are interested in joining the most proactive group in real estate investing, it is the TTP family. It is the TTP coaching program. Go to wholesalinginc.com/TTP. Wholesalinginc.com/TTP. Check out what it's all about. Check out all the testimonials. Do your research. Go on Google. See what it's all about. If it feels good in your gut, sign up for a call right there on that page. Book a call. We look forward to talking to you.
This guy's the coach you want. I'm telling you right now, I got lucky to be with him for 7 years, but this is the guy you want, hands down.
Thank you, Luke. And everybody out there, that's it. Again, I always encourage you, as I sign off every time, to go out there and talk to people. Till next time. Love you guys.
Bam.